Catherine the Great is believed to have had around 20 to 30 lovers throughout her lifetime, though exact numbers are uncertain due to varying historical accounts. Some of her most notable lovers were Sergei Saltykov, Grigory Orlov, and Grigory Potemkin, with whom she shared deep emotional and political connections. These relationships, while often romantic, were also strategically significant in consolidating her power. Regarding her wealth, when Catherine died in 1796, she left behind a substantial fortune, including vast land holdings, art collections, and estates. Although difficult to calculate precisely in modern terms, her wealth could be estimated at over $200 million in today's US dollars, considering the size of her empire and assets. However, this is a rough estimate, as inflation and historical currency differences complicate precise conversion. Catherine the Great is most famous for her remarkable rise to power, transforming Russia into a major European empire. While she was known for her intelligence, political acumen, and cultural patronage, her sexual relationships, including numerous lovers, often overshadowed her reign. Her rule saw Russia's territorial expansion, cultural enlightenment, and legal reforms, but also entrenched serfdom and corruption. Wealth, grandeur, and the construction of monumental projects, like the Hermitage, were central to her legacy. Despite controversies surrounding her personal life, Catherine is remembered as one of Russia's most influential and powerful monarchs, balancing both progress and intrigue. Catherine II of Russia, known historically as Catherine the Great, remains one of the most fascinating and controversial figures in history. She was not born into greatness, nor did she inherit her title by right of birth. Instead, Catherine clawed her way to power through intelligence, determination, and strategic alliances, forever changing the course of Russian history. Born as Sophie Friederike August von Anhalt-Zerbst on May 2, 1729, in Stettin, now Szczecin, Poland, she was the daughter of Christian Augustus, a German prince with little fortune or influence, and Johanna Elizabeth of Holstein-Gottorp, who had grand ambitions for her daughter. Sophie's early life was nothing short of strict and emotionally detached, a nurturing that left her with a hunger for power, influence, and the ability to control her destiny. Catherine's rise to power was the result of an intricate and often shocking series of events that involved political maneuvering, marriage, betrayal, and the cold-blooded ambition to become Empress of Russia. At the age of 14, Catherine was sent to Russia, where she was to marry Tsar Peter III, the grandson of Peter the Great. Despite being a foreigner, she was aware that this marriage could provide her with the necessary platform to achieve her dreams. The marriage, however, turned out to be a farce. Peter III was a man of limited capabilities, immature, and eccentric. He failed to produce an heir, and his reign quickly degenerated into farcical rule, which eventually led to his downfall. Catherine, who had already begun cultivating relationships with powerful figures in the Russian court, including the Orlov brothers, was poised for a coup. In 1762, Catherine deposed her husband in a coup with military support from her lovers and supporters. Peter III was forced to abdicate after just 6 months on the throne, and he mysteriously died shortly thereafter under suspicious circumstances. It was widely believed that his death was no accident but a calculated murder, orchestrated to secure Catherine's position. Her ascension to the throne was not only a political victory, It was a personal triumph for a woman who had proven herself to be far more capable and ambitious than her incompetent husband. Once Empress, Catherine proved to be a monarch of great vision, ambition, and contradiction. Her reign from 1762 to 1796 marked a period of immense growth for Russia, both culturally and territorially. She corresponded with prominent Enlightenment thinkers such as Voltaire and Diderot, and her court became a haven for artists, philosophers, and intellectuals. Despite her enlightened ideals, however, Catherine's actions often contradicted her words. She abolished the death penalty, only to ruthlessly crush revolts and uprisings when they threatened her power. The Pugachev Rebellion of 1773 to 1775, in particular, demonstrated her ruthless side, as she ordered the mass execution of thousands of rebels and their families, while she promoted reforms and modernization. The brutal system of serfdom remained entrenched under her rule, exacerbating the suffering of millions of peasants. But Catherine's personal life was just as controversial and often overshadowed her political reign. Known for her many lovers and rumored to have had over 20 sexual partners throughout her life, Catherine's sexual appetite has been the subject of countless sensationalized tales. While it is true that Catherine had numerous lovers, both for personal and political gain, the extent of her relationships has often been exaggerated in popular culture. Among her many lovers, Sergei Saltykov, her first significant lover, and Grigory Orlov, the man who helped her stage the coup against her husband, were two of the most notable. Her later years were marked by her relationship with Grigory Potemkin, whom she regarded as her greatest love. Potemkin was not only her lover but also a trusted advisor who helped her secure some of her greatest political successes, such as the annexation of Crimea in 1783. While her lovers were often men of power and influence, Catherine's reputation as a seductress was not entirely deserved. Many of her relationships were calculated, aiming not just at personal pleasure but also at securing her position on the throne and advancing Russia's interests. Catherine's relationships with her lovers were often more about intellect, power, and politics than simple physical attraction. She preferred men who were not just handsome but capable, intelligent, and ambitious. This strategic approach to love and sex often served her well, providing her with valuable allies who helped her maintain her grip on power. Catherine's physical appearance has also been the subject of much speculation. Unlike many of her royal contemporaries, Catherine was not known for her traditional beauty. Descriptions of her appearance vary, but she was often described as having a plump figure and a sharp face. Yet, what she lacked in physical beauty, she made up for with charisma, wit, and an uncanny ability to captivate and dominate those around her. Her personal vanity was not a secret. She was known to be very conscious of her appearance and maintained a carefully crafted public persona that emphasized her intellectual prowess over her physical features. Despite her physical appearance, Catherine's charm and formidable intelligence were often enough to win over the men she needed for her political and personal ambitions. But the intrigue surrounding Catherine does not end with her lovers. Her lavish lifestyle has also been a point of discussion for centuries. As Empress, Catherine lived in unimaginable luxury, surrounded by art, literature, and the finest luxuries of the age. She expanded the Winter Palace in St. Petersburg, transforming it into one of the grandest residences in Europe. She built the Hermitage Museum, which housed an enormous collection of art, including works by Rembrandt, Leonardo da Vinci, and Raphael. Catherine was a patron of the arts and believed that culture and education were essential to the growth of her empire. Yet, her opulent lifestyle and lavish spending were often funded by the exploitation of the Russian peasantry, whose labor fueled the empire's wealth. Catherine's life was one of contradictions. She promoted reform and enlightenment while maintaining a system that brutally oppressed the lower classes. Catherine's health was always a concern throughout her life, though she was known to be a woman of great vitality, especially in her earlier years. However, as she grew older, she struggled with various illnesses, and by the time of her death on November 17, 1796, at the age of 67, her health had significantly declined. Her death was sudden, and although the official cause was a stroke, rumors swirled that she had suffered a stroke after a particularly passionate encounter with her lover. It is important to note, however, that these rumors were likely fabricated, an attempt to tarnish her reputation in death, just as many of the more sensational stories of her life had been. Catherine's legacy, like her life, remains complex and multifaceted. She left behind a Russian empire that was more powerful, more enlightened, and more connected to Europe than ever before. She promoted the arts and education, sought to reform the legal system, and expanded Russian territory significantly, adding vast new lands in the Black Sea region. Yet, her reign also saw the deepening of the serfdom system and the widespread suffering of the peasantry. Her policies on social issues, education, and governance were progressive for their time, but she never fully embraced the ideas of liberty and equality that were at the heart of the Enlightenment. Catherine's wealth was considerable, and she left behind an enormous fortune upon her death. Her collection of art, her extensive lands, and her control over the Russian Empire became part of the imperial inheritance that passed on to her son, Paul I. However, Paul's reign was marked by instability and violence, and the wealth accumulated by Catherine did not provide the lasting legacy that many expected. Catherine was buried in the Peter and Paul Cathedral in St. Petersburg, and her death marked the end of an era for Russia. Her legacy, however, lives on in the cultural and political transformations she initiated, the art collections she curated, and the empire she helped build. Catherine the Great's life was one of contradictions. A powerful, enlightened ruler who maintained a tight grip on power through ruthless political maneuvering. A passionate lover, and a woman who never fully conformed to the expectations placed upon her. In the end, Catherine's wealth, her influence, and her complex personality left a lasting impact on Russian history. Though she was a woman of contradictions, Catherine's legacy remains undeniably powerful, and her life continues to fascinate and intrigue historians, scholars, and curious minds around the world.